Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for the latest of my Inside Track videos. Today I want to unpack the angle between Venus and Saturn that goes from the 10th to the 18th of June. It's a quincunx, 150 degrees, a pretty tricky planetary aspect that makes it very difficult to integrate the two energies involved. Now Venus currently is in the very glamorous and charismatic Leo, and Saturn is in the watery and psychological Pisces. How will this play out? If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me. If you're a returning visitor, it's lovely to have you with me once more. I do work extremely hard at these videos, so your likes, comments and subscriptions are really appreciated. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol to get an update every time I launch a video. Also, if you'd like to get your free written daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the subscription link beneath this video. I provide an overview each day of the most dominant influence, but then you can read from Aries through to Pisces, your sun, your ascendant, or both. Now Venus, let's just explore briefly the themes of Venus. Through its earth rulership, very sensual, this is the sign of Taurus, and an appreciation of security, stability, but also it can be about self-worth and money. But good food, good wine, intimacy, certainly to do with making, can be very, very creative, Venus in Taurus. Now through its rulership of Libra, very much to do with relating. It can be to do with diplomacy, trying to find harmony, points of accord, getting that midpoint between balancing what we want from situations and what other people want. So a bit of give and take. But it can also be very much to do with fashion, appearance, and to a degree superficiality. So those are the two themes of Venus. What about Saturn? Well, Saturn of course rules two zodiac signs. Its rulership of Capricorn is very traditional, and it's asking us to take our responsibilities serious. It can be a hard taskmaster, can be the provider of harsh lessons, tough love, and of course Venus can be about love and desire. And Saturn in the sign of Capricorn is very much to do with wisdom and perhaps sticking to the script, not necessarily doing things in a new or fresh way, more to do with maintaining the status quo. Now its co-rulership of Aquarius is different. Here it's very much to do with appreciation, traditionality, but also because of the Uranian influence of Aquarius, it's about being open to new ways of doing things. Now in the sign of Pisces, where it's been since the 7th of March, it's asking us all to become much more conscious of our psychology, our emotional health. Saturn asks us to work at things, apply ourselves, be very diligent. It's not to do with frills, certainly not cheap frills. So one of the things that this connection between Saturn and Venus can do is that Saturn can in some ways cool the very glamorous charismatic vibe of Leo, which is hosting Venus, but in a kind of detached and a little bit of a withholding way. So for example, if there is somebody that you're drawn to at the moment, whether there is a simpatico between you at a deeper level could be tested. So it's possible that you could get on socially, there could be a sense of attraction, but is the psychology between you going to work? Or in an ongoing relationship, if one person is very much into going out, mixing and mingling, loves to be very popular, and the other person is more introverted and sees that in a less positive way, that also can arouse some problems. Now life is quite tough for many people these days, so another thing that can happen with Venus, and I'm just sharing the event chart on the screen now, is because it's pretty close to Mars at the moment and will be through to the start of July, there could be a tendency to be a little bit hedonistic, to escape some of the harsh realities of the world as it is at the moment, whether it's, you know, tightening of finances, a job that's very demanding but a bit thankless, not much recognition, Leo, not much acknowledgement, Leo, and not very creative, Leo. It's just about the obligation. So we're, you know, working away, being very applied, but there's not much joy in it. One of the things we may have a desire to do with this aspect is break free and really let our hair down, whatever the consequences. But of course the consequences are is that we wake up the next day feeling pretty rough, tired, and we still got to go back to those responsibilities unless we make a decision to make some changes. Another thing that can happen is that if there is a relationship where one person's very outgoing and the other person's very inward, that incompatibility could be really highlighted at this time, I feel. Now, security is a very important thing, whether it is in romance or in terms of money. And I think at the moment we could all be feeling a bit edgy around that. You know, is there that sense of admiration and respect that Venus in Leo really craves? So I think that Venus in Leo is a gorgeous, gorgeous influence, and it's of course full of warmth, can be very affectionate, enormously generous. But I think that Saturn really can be like a wet blanket, a very cold wet blanket, deep, penetrated down in the sign of Pisces. So psychological issues, whether it's to do with our work, our finances, our relationships, can't be ignored at this time. There is a mismatch between frivolity, living in the moment, and really craving joyfulness, Venus in Leo along with Mars, and the harsh reality of our anxieties, our concerns, perhaps the deeper stuff that's really rooted within us where we might not feel good enough, which, remember, Venus can be about self-worth. It could be stuff that's historical that we've not dealt with. It may be that past relationships are still influencing our ability to go again in a new relationship, and that's creating some inhibition. So all of those things can come into the open at this particular time and not make it particularly easy for us. Also, if you are in a relationship where you feel that someone's permanently withholding, whether it's a line manager who can barely say good morning, or it's a partner who seems to be very picky and critical, or there is a situation where you're doing a lot for your kids but they just really don't show any appreciation at all, those kind of things can suck the joy out of us. So it's quite a tricky influence, this one, but like all influences, if we understand it's actually to do with integration, and we understand what the principles of Saturn, security, stability, boundaries, working hard, applying ourselves. Venus can be very frivolous in Leo, I feel. So what Saturn's asking Venus to be is a bit more real, and Venus is asking Saturn to chill out a little bit. And we can just toggle between those two principles. We can actually gain a lot of insights about how we may be feeling, because astrology can affect how we feel, but also it triggers stuff that's latently within us. So if there are issues within us already active with a lack of self-worth, finding it difficult to enjoy things, lacking spontaneity, the sign of Leo is Sun, so it means going for it, being a bit more risk-taking in some ways. Saturn is very counter-intuitive to risk-taking. It's hyper-cautious. So we can actually learn a lot from these archetypes through this week and emerge from it with a lot more understanding of what we might be putting up with, what we need to change. Are we in a job that is unfulfilling, and is this a reminder that we need to look for something that's more creative? Are we not are we not taking our own majesty, Venus in Leo, seriously enough, our own agency, and putting up with a situation which isn't quite right for us because we're a bit fearful to make a change, because we think knowing what we know, security, is better than really going for life fulsomely, Venus and Mars in Leo, even if that can have some risk attached to it. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you would like to embrace the wonder of really serious astrology, if you do give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can provide for you your life roadmap report, which will give you a much more intimate understanding of the patterns that have played out in your life so far. In my special package of 30% off, you can also get your 12-month forecast, which will give you searing insights for the month ahead. If you don't know your time, one of the problems with charts that are produced based on an assumed noon to split the day in two is the ascendant is completely wrong. So I've developed a chart that doesn't use the ascendant. It's based on the sun, and it will be very valuable to you. You also get a forecast. There's also 30% off. It's my solar package, and you can read about that below too. For now, take care and goodbye.